The following feature presentation is part of the Skywalking Network.
This is what you can look forward to on this freaky episode 482 of Skywalking through Neverland.
I've got to get this out of the way. Are you ready to get freaky?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's like the biggest and best update that they could have had between the two movies.
And I think that is the real beauty of this film.
And let me tell you, it was a ride. It was definitely a ride.
They all realize there's no place like home when you're in your own body.
Are you ready?
Welcome to Neverland.
Here we go.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets loud. It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey, hey.
When you use a bird to write with, it's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Never Land that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! So how freaky do you want to get with this episode? Well, it's almost Friday, which means only one thing. It's time to body switch! But right now, we want to welcome you back to
Skywalking through Neverland.
I am Richard Woloski, but now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife Sarah, the marathon woman.
Woohoo! Half marathon. I don't think I'll ever run a full marathon, but yes, just completed the Halloween half marathon at Disneyland. 13.1 miles. Boop, here's my shirt to prove it. I was there. Yay!
And her sore legs are there to prove it as well.
Yes.
Hey, Adam.
Oh,
Adam
nice.
is watching from Australia.
Whoa, and we got Meredith coming in with a hey, and also Julie and James with a hey.
And
excellent.
I think Julie said her kitties are there too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. All right, Skywalkers, we are your enthusiastic podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars, Disney, Marvel, and pop culture fandom. Also your Freaky Friday fandom. So imagine a big, huge Wookiee hug from us. Especially if you need it this week. And also a little sprinkle of pixie dust. For our family of Skywalkers, know that we are always thinking of you. Well, we are live on the Skywalking Through Neverland YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and then hit the little bell for notifications. That subscribing really helps, and last week we did ask, we were very close to 9,100 subscribers on YouTube.
We just needed 7 more.
So did you do it, Skywalkers?
And guess what the Skywalkers did?
What?
They gave us 7 more.
Exactly 9,100 subscribs.
Just like we asked.
That's amazing.
All right, so you know what? Let's just go for 5 more this coming week. Just 5 more.
All right. I'm going to pixie dust sprinkle it to 10.
Oh, boy. But get this.
Yes.
We are about 7,000 away from hitting the 1 million mark when it comes to podcast downloads.
Whoa, so this does not include YouTube
Not
at
include
all.
YouTube, just the podcasting downloads.
Whoa.
We are 7,000 away from the 1 million mark.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And it does go up every single day. A couple days ago, we had like a 2,000 downloaded day.
Yeah?
I think I'm going to say within like 2 weeks, we'll hit that 1 million mark.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Mm-hmm. All right, well, Skywalkers, in this episode, we continue our Step in Time series of episodes where we look back at classic Disney films. Mostly these are live action films from the 60s, 70s, 80s, but sometimes they include animated films. And this week, we will be joined by Courtney and Kelly Turckel of the Neverland Clubhouse to compare and contrast the 1970 1977 Freaky Friday with Jodie Foster to the 2003 Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. Wow, it's guaranteed to be a freaky conversation.
Yeah, be forewarned, you're going to hear that joke about 1,000 more times, okay?
And if you've seen the 1977 version Freaky Friday, you just might agree.
All right, now let's get this out of the way. When it comes to the release date, a lot of places online will say 1976, some will say 1977, when it was released just in Los Angeles the second week of December 1976.
Okay.
But it was widely released in January of 1977, so really it's a 1977 release.
Yes. Okay. And
All
it was
right.
right before Star Wars.
Yep, and a week after my birthday.
Yes.
Thank you, Disney.
Oh.
All right, now we are being sponsored by Small World Vacations, and they are a diamond-level Disney vacation planner travel agency that can help you book your trip to a Disney park around the world or on a Disney cruise. And best of all, this service is free of charge. So head over there to smallworldvacations.com for a no-obligation price quote and tell them Skywalking through Neverland sent you.
Now we are recording this episode from Long Beach, California on September 9th, 2024. So Richard, what happened today in Star Wars history?
Well, let's travel back 47 years to today, September 9th, 1977. After 13 weeks on the Billboard 200 chart, the Star Wars soundtrack peaks at the number 2 position.
What? So it never got to number 1?
Never got to number 1.
Oh!
It just peaked at number 2 because it was topped by Fleetwood Mac and their album Rumours, one of the biggest albums of all time to this date.
I hate Fleetwood Mac now.
That's like me and Annie Hall.
I know. No, I don't. I've never seen Annie Hall.
Okay, good. And we won't ever listen to Rumours again.
I was like, I've already listened to Rumours.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Now this 2 LP soundtrack released by 20th Century Fox.
The Star Wars soundtrack.
The Star Wars soundtrack is released in June and goes on to become certified gold and platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. And it goes on to selling 4 million copies.
Wow.
And becomes the best-selling symphonic album of all time.
I love that.
Now, I love this album because on the back of it, there was this great illustration of Darth Vader. How timely that is right now.
My parents had this album.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember seeing that Darth Vader illustration, in the stars, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and most times Vader was always portrayed in blue, but here he is in that black. And just seeing that image just brings up all my nostalgic feels. You show that image to any original trilogy fan, they'll know exactly where that came from.
Aww.
So you had it when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Do you remember first listening to that? And
I do.
Your father had one of those big, giant THX systems before THX was a system?
Yeah, so like my living room, so this is really funny. My mom's an interior designer and my dad is a very tech geeky guy. And so like our living room was a mixture of mom's beautiful interior design, and it's a 2-story living room, right? And they had this beautiful design, like couches and all the draperies matched and everything. But then right kind of 1/4 of the room was these giant Dole speakers or whatever. I don't know. Dolby speakers, maybe? My dad would know what the speakers are called, but they were like kind of in the 1/4 of the living room, and it was like the bane of my mom's existence. She hated that the speakers were like taking up her nice living room space. But we had this living room chair, the recliner chair, that was like right by one of those speakers. And I remember just when I saw the Return of the Jedi for the first time, then I like put it together. Oh, like, wait, we have the LP of this soundtrack. And so I put on the soundtrack and I sat in the recliner right next to the speaker and turned it up to 11. And I sat there going, hee.
That's the only way to listen to that album.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so cool. So yes, I do remember.
I remember it because I vividly remember it because it cost a king's ransom of $7.
Oh, wow.
And I saved up so long for this $7. I had a big jar of coins. And I counted it all out to $7. And I went down to John's, the corner convenience store, my home away from home in 1977, and I poured out all this change. The gentleman there named John, he was counting all of it. It took him like 20 minutes. And I think it was like maybe 85 cents short. I want to say 85 cents. And back then, that was not just 85, not just a couple of coins, but that was a good chunk of change. Mm-hmm. And I was like screaming to the heavens, no, how could this be? I can't get it today. And he said, you know what? I'll give you 85 cents.
Oh.
I couldn't, but that was it. And this gentleman named John, he was one of the most introverted person. I don't think he's said more than 3 words to me before that day.
Wow.
So I thought he just hated me, but he was just an introvert. And cut to 40 years later, when you and I, my sister, went to that convenience store, and I was the first time I'd ever talked to him since like the 1970s. And I said, I want to tell you a story. Do you remember this? Hoping he would remember. I'm pouring my heart out. You really helped me. You stepped up that day and gave me that 85 cents so I can go get my Star Wars album. Do you remember that? He's like, no. You know, just at least fake it. Like, you know what? It sounds familiar,
right.
But I don't know. But he's like, no.
Did you give him 85 cents?
No.
Yeah.
Not after that, I didn't. So whenever I pick up my Star Wars album, I always think of that story, the preface to the story, not the part where he forgets that he stepped up and really made an impact on my childhood. All right, now, also on this day,
in 2024,
we got the very sad news that we lost another Star Wars icon, James Earl Jones, who became one with the Force at the age of 93. So next week, we'll have an episode where we go over his life, talk about some the obscure things that you may not have read about or known about James Earl Jones. We put a post up on our Facebook group, and everyone's been listing their favorite quotes.
Yeah, so we would really love to hear like your favorite James Earl Jones moment, quote, or even if you've met him, you have like some kind of story. We would love to we're going to do like a celebration of life.
Yes.
On the next episode.
Yes, just the way he would like it.
Yeah.
All right, now let's see how freaky we can get by comparing and contrasting Freaky Friday with Freaky Friday.
As we lead into Freakier Friday.
Annabelle isn't herself today. Neither is her mother. Because this morning...
I wish I could switch places with her. For just one day.
That's all about to change. Because things are going to get a little freaky.
They became each other.
I'd like to be you for a day. I'd like to climb into the dreams you hide, to know the grown-up and the child inside, whatever makes you smile.
It's the freakiest, funniest, most far-out mother and daughter act you've ever seen. It's Freaky Friday, a real comedy switch from Walt Disney Production.
Since the reveal of the title of the anticipated Freaky Friday sequel at D23, Freakier Friday, there has been a lot of talk and reminiscing about the beloved 1977 and the 2003 remake. To compare and contrast these two films, we called in Courtney and Kelly Turckel from the Neverland Clubhouse.
Hey, Courtney and Kelly!
Hi, hey, guys. Hi, guys.
All right, I've got to get this out of the way. Are you ready to get freaky?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's the last time I'll ever say that.
In the context of Freaky Friday.
Yes, and this episode.
Yes. Okay.
All right, now, talking about getting freaky. Oh, I did it again. Let's go back and talk about when we each saw each of the Freaky Friday films, and do they have a nostalgic place for either one of you? Courtney?
So I first saw, I saw the 2003 version first, way back in 2003. Went to the theater and saw it with our mom and obviously Kelly, because, you know, we were in high school / middle school, so that's the way it had to be. So the 2003 Freaky Friday definitely held some nostalgic space in the heart because it was just such a good movie, and I was such a big Lindsay Lohan fan, and also Jamie Lee Curtis, and like it was the beginning of the like punk goes pop like revolution right there. So like the soundtrack was amazing. I love it, and it was just like right up our alley. The first time I saw the 1977 version was right after we got Disney Plus, and we were going into the pandemic. And so I decided to take it upon myself that I was going to watch everything that ever was on Disney Plus. And they used to, like, when it was first premiered, you could select it by timeline. So I was just going right down the timeline. And when I got to the 1970s, there was Freaky Friday. So I did watch it during the pandemic, and then also again for this podcast. So like the 77 version, not as nostalgic, but I knew I knew it existed.
Okay.
Now, I gotta say, I'm loving this Halloween dimensional feel you're giving us right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, Courtney's got these purple and greens, like 1970s tube television flickers. Way to go.
Yeah.
Whereas Kelly has got more of the 2003 crystal clear 4K.
Indeed. Yeah. So, Kelly, can you tell us about your Freaky Friday experience?
I remember the anticipation leading up to this movie. I was 14 years old. I was like the perfect age for this movie to come out in 2003. And I really liked Lindsay Lohan from The Parent Trap. And she also did a couple of Disney Channel original movies, Life Size with Tyra Banks and Get a Clue on the Disney Channel. So Lindsay Lohan was very prevalent in my world. I was watching her movies and consuming everything. I think this was like the first time I ever saw Jamie Lee Curtis do anything. I don't remember seeing her in anything before this. Like I said, I was 14. I didn't know Halloween. I didn't know her from anything. So I think that this was my first introduction to Jamie Lee Curtis. And
yeah, probably.
But the main reason I wanted to see this movie was Chad Michael Murray. Chad Michael Murray was my crush, and he still is. He plays Jake.
It's Jake. All right. The love interest.
I can see that. He is pretty cute.
Yeah.
And he was on One Tree Hill, so we watched that.
And One Tree Hill had just started. He was on Gilmore Girls as Tristan.
That's what I thought. He was on Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, he was on
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls.
He was on all the WB shows, so
he was on
that's what we
Dawson's
watched.
Creek for a little while. He was just the teen heartthrob at the time. So I was ready to go see this movie. I think I begged my mom to go see this movie.
I am wondering if they named him Jake because of 16 Candles.
I think they did because Mark Waters directed Freaky Friday 2003 version, and he was definitely a big John Hughes fan. I remember watching all the behind the scenes stuff off the DVD. I remember watching the deleted scenes off the DVD. I remember watching this constantly. It was like
I pirated the songs.
Yes.
You pirated the songs?
Did you Napster these songs?
I did. LimeWire. I LimeWired it.
It was that time. Yeah.
And I don't even think I put together that there was an original until maybe when I was later in my teens, early 20s. So I never saw the original 1977 version until a couple days ago. And let me tell you, it was a ride. It was definitely a ride.
And we'll get into that, definitely.
All right, Sarah.
Okay, so now it seems like, Kelly, you were the exact right age to see Freaky Friday 2003. Well, when I saw the Freaky Friday 1976-77 version, I was the right age. Now, I saw it on VHS, and so I remember just loving it and watching it several times because it was in our kind of VHS library at the time. And I think I was around 7 or 8 years old when I first saw the film. And I think I rewatched it over and over again till I was about 12. And I remember really relating with Jodie Foster at this time. And this is where my admiration of her first came from, like as an actress. And unlike several like family films where the girls are very girly, here was this like young teen who was a tomboy. She played sports. I played soccer. She was in band. I had just started band. She had braces. I had braces. I had glasses. I was like this geeky little teen, and she was just like that too. And so I could really relate to her. So watching as a kid, I loved, like, I totally related to her. And also I just found her doing all that housework fascinating. The mom. And I love the slapstick comedy. Again, I saw this when I was like 8, right? And at the end of the day, you know, there's some heartwarming moments where the mom and daughter understand each other. And then Annabelle, like that whole little brother side story where the little brother like really loves his older sister, like admires her, you know, like that really got to me too. So I was such a sucker for this film. And I have to admit that, like, the total opposite of you guys, I never saw the 2003 Freaky Friday in theaters. The first time I saw it, I believe, was like in the pandemic or just like a couple years ago. So yeah, and that was new to me. So Richard, do you have any nostalgia for these movies?
All right, I'm gonna go back to Thursday. and that's
sounds like me in Star Wars.
And that is when I first saw both of these films.
Wow.
I know these films have got a lot of nostalgic love for a lot of people, but for me, I was in my King Kong and monster phase back in 1977. So was I going to go see a film about a mother and daughter swapping bodies? No, not at all. But it's odd because my mother would take my sister and I to see all the Disney films every single Saturday. But I think I may have thrown a fit and said, no, I want to go see King Kong again. Because my sister, I talked to my sister, and I said, I know you loved Freaky Friday when we were growing up. Do you recall seeing this in the theater? She's like, yeah. It's like, well, if you did, then I must have.
Right.
But I don't recall ever seeing this. But once again, I think I did kick and scream to go see King Kong.
Okay.
So that's why I don't think I
that
ever
makes
saw
sense.
this until last week. And as a kid, if I had seen this would have been a laugh riot. So much slapstick, so much physical comedy. But watching it now as an adult, it's just a mess. It's just a mess of a film. It's like they wrote the jokes and all the tropes.
Yeah.
Then they said, okay, we got all these jokes and tropes. What can we do with them? Let's write a film around all this. But with that said, you've got to watch this through the eyes of a 10-year-old.
Exactly. And that's when I first saw it.
Exactly.
Like, and I just saw it recently now with you, and it's like, whoa, this is not what I remembered.
No, this was definitely made for a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
But now the 2003, the remake was cute, and it was fun, and I can see preteens and teens just going crazy for it. I love Jamie Lee Curtis in a comedy role, so this film gets a big check for that. And when Lindsay Lohan is on, she's on. She is really good in this.
Yeah.
And she's just really good as that angsty daughter with the weight of her teen years just resting on her shoulders.
You're ruining my life.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, what? You're 16. What kind of a life
I was like,
do
she's
you
like,
have?
Mom, where's my door?
Yes.
Oh, that is so funny because my sister would take off the door from her son.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're
Oh,
not
no way.
if you're not behaving, the door comes right off.
Wow.
And then when I
I've
saw this, I was
never
like,
actually
oh.
seen anybody do that.
I've never heard anybody get their door taken away.
Privacy is a privilege.
It is. And my other nephew would take pictures of it and send me to her. Like, hey, Rich, look, Brandon got in trouble again.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right. Well, to familiarize those who need a refresher or maybe is unfamiliar with these films, the original Freaky Friday was widely released on January 21st, 1977, and it, of course, stars Jodie Foster and Barbara Harris as the daughter and mother team. Freaky Friday is where a mother and her daughter switch bodies, and then they get a taste of each other's daily lives. And now the cause of the switch of the 1977 film, it occurs on Friday the 13th.
Oh, so this is this is a Jason Voorhees prequel.
Yes.
This is the original Friday the 13th.
And this is when Mrs. Andrews, or Ellen, and Annabelle say at the same time,
I wish I could switch places with her for just one day.
And then, holy cow, those special effects come in.
A state of the art.
And they switch bodies. And that's like the whole premise. It's like, okay, how can we make this happen? Special effects. Pew, pew, pew. And little sound effects.
Freeze frame and just do a quick swap.
Yep.
And there you go. And then a few months later, they saw Star Wars. And they said, man.
Yeah, and since this is the 1970s, from there we see Annabelle as her mom. She deals with the day as a housewife. So there's carpet cleaners, there's a cleaning lady, there's an oil change, there's doing laundry, there's doing her makeup and putting fake eyelashes on, and getting her husband's clothes and food ready for his big shindig that night because he has constant requests for her.
Honey-do lists.
Yes!
Yes, the honey-do list.
Yeah, it's the
Honey-do this, honey. The whole film was a honey-do list.
Yes,
Totally.
it
They kept
was.
calling her like, oh, by the way, do this. By the way, do that.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And then Annabelle, of course, she's so Mrs. Andrews is Annabelle, and she deals with her day at school, which I loved this, like the band practice, the field hockey game in which she was the linchpin. There was a camera class where she ruined everybody's, what is it, camera?
Oh, she turned on the light.
Yeah.
Dark room.
The dark room.
Photosensitive material. As soon as that teacher said, okay, no one turn on the light, it's like, okay, cut to, and here's Jodie Foster opening
Don't
up the door.
push the red button.
Yeah, don't push the red
button. Yeah.
And then the typing class where she had to plug in the typewriter and every
class.
Yeah, this is what I meant. They wrote all these jokes and then wrote a film around it.
Yeah. And then finally, of course, she's like the best water skier in the state. So the mom, as Annabelle, has to like do this water ski competition.
And hilarious ensues.
Hilarity. Yes.
Yes, hilarity and hilariousness. Now, the Freaky Friday remake was released on August the 6th in 2003 and stars Jamie Lee Curtis as the mom Tess and Lindsay Lohan as Anna.
Annabelle, Anna.
Yeah. Oh, I see. It's right there. So in this movie, single mother Tess Coleman and her teenage daughter couldn't be more different, and it is driving them both insane. After receiving cryptic fortune cookies at a Chinese restaurant, the two wake up the next day to discover that they have somehow switched bodies. Unable to switch back, they are forced to masquerade as one another until a solution can be found. In the process, they develop a new sense of respect and understanding for one another.
Wow.
Now, I think both of these films could be cut down by an hour and a half if they just told their significant others or brothers or teachers, "Hey, you'll never believe this, but I'm my daughter, I'm my mom."
Right.
If they just said, instead of trying to hide this.
They would get put in a straitjacket. They would think they're crazy.
I mean, they'd be in an insane asylum. Nobody would.
But that's a whole new movie then.
That's true. So
that would be Girl Interrupted then, okay? And that's a whole different movie.
Yes. All right, so now we promised that we would compare and contrast these two different versions. So how are these films both alike?
All right, I'll go first
by
saying there's switching of the bodies.
Well, yes. Yes.
Switching of the bodies and the mind, whereas in the 1977 version, Annabelle and her mom, Ellen, they say those magic words, "I wish I could just switch places with her for just one day." And because it was Friday the 13th, there was the switch. But in the 2003 version, Anna and her mom, Tess, they're given these fortune cookies. Mm-hmm. And they read their fortunes aloud simultaneously. There's an earthquake, and they switch. Their bodies have been switched.
Now, only they felt it, right?
Yes, only they felt the earthquake. They go back into the restaurant. It's like,
yes.
Hey, did you guys ever feel that earthquake? And everyone else is like, earthquake? What are you talking about?
But when they switch back, everyone feels the earthquake,
yes, at
right?
the end, very much so.
Because they're on opposite ends of the room. So they have to feel the earthquake there. When they originally switch, they're in a room by themselves.
Well, one's on the bathroom, one's
in the bathroom, one's outside the bathroom, but they're away from everyone in the
restaurant.
So then when they switch back, one's in the back of the room and one's in front of the room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right. This was like a trope in the 60s and 70s when you went to a Chinese restaurant. The mysticism would create this magic.
I mean, the owner of the Chinese restaurant did do like an incantation when she gave him the fortune cookies.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and the daughter's
There's
like,
nothing-
Mom, no, or Grandma, or whatever. Yeah, she's like, no. Yeah, that was funny. But I do love that in both versions, a makeover happens, but it's the different one. So like in the 77 version, it's Annabelle, the daughter, who gets the makeover, and the mom is like basically making over her daughter, but as the daughter, which I find hilarious. And she had to go to her dad's office to get the credit card sign off on using it, which is so funny.
The authorization, like I hereby authorize Annabelle.
Yeah, and he calls in the secretary to write down 2 sentences.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so funny. But
Whereas in the 2003 version, she just uses her credit cards because she's already the mom, and she just goes and buys herself stuff that she wants to wear and gives her a haircut that she wants. And she looks so cool. I always thought that the mom was so cool.
It's so cute. And she's on 3rd Street Promenade.
Yeah.
Getting that makeover.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone who lives in LA, you know that you cannot drive on 3rd Street Promenade,
But
which
she
they
does.
do.
Yeah.
They park right next to that metal triceratops. Like I've been there a million times. You cannot park alongside that triceratops. You can't do it.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, another thing that's the same is that the brothers both secretly love their big sister. And one writes a paper about how much they admire her, and the other one, actually, I think they both write a paper. I can't remember what the 2003 one, but
like in the
2003,
2003 they write an essay.
But the one in 77 writes an essay too.
Yes.
Or a short story or something like that.
Yeah.
And they both want to be like, but don't tell Anna or don't tell Annabelle.
Right.
Wait a minute. She calls you ape face your whole life.
I
and
know.
you write this
I
big long dissertation
And you
about
like
how
her?
you love your sister.
It's like, oh, she's cool. But it does
for you.
provide that nice little B plot.
very much so.
Touching moment.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was so sweet.
And in both of them, it's Annabelle and Anna who's talking to the brother, and they find out that he really admires her.
Right. Because he thinks he's talking to his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, in both versions. Yeah. And I just think the little boy in the 1977 version is so adorable.
Yeah.
Like, he's like the most feminine, cute little boy. I don't know. Like, his, you know, some little boys just have like the longest eyelashes, and you're like, wow, any girl would kill to have that, you know. Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah, I gotta admit that I had that kind of admiration for my sister growing up.
Oh, really?
Because I was the younger brother. She'd always beat on me or call me ape face, but I always really admired her.
Oh,
because
why?
when push comes to shove, she would be right there.
Aww.
As an older sister or brother would be if I was ever
I wrote
in
an
trouble or
essay on
doing
Courtney in high school.
Oh, go get it.
Okay.
Go get it.
Was
I
it
don't have
admiring?
it. I do not have it. Yes, it was.
Okay. I was like, how was it? Oh, that's so
it
sweet.
was. Yeah.
Aww.
I think it was my computer class, and we had to make a website about someone we admire.
my.
I think I did it on Courtney.
Did you have to make a website in your high school computer class, Richard?
We had the big giant Whopper computers that kept saying, "Shall we play a game?" It's like, what does that mean? Why do you keep saying that? All right. Also, another comparison is the crush on the mother. Now, yes,
the young man,
or the neighbor or the high school stud has a crush on the mother who's really the daughter.
Yeah, I mean, they're really in love with the same person, but like all of a sudden they feel like they love the mom, or like all of a sudden
so it's the daughter speaking through the mother.
Right.
And in the 1977 version, it's Boris. You gotta love any character named Boris. And
Except why Boris?
Boris. He's the kid next door.
Boris, I'm like, no.
Okay. But if you think about it, Jodie Foster's kind of that geeky teen. She would have a crush on the geeky guy. Like it kind of makes sense.
Putting nose spray in his nose and like
get all that messed up 70s hair, and she kept saying to him for some reason, "You look like Jimmy Olsen."
No, I'll take my Chad Michael Murray. Thank you.
He develops the crush on Ellen. Only now it's Annabelle.
Right.
Because she's the hip mom. When what's her name? Ellen gets the boomerang and breaks the neighbor's window.
Oh my gosh,
She's like,
yeah.
let's split.
Split! She runs away. He's like, what?
And he's thinking, wait a minute, a mom should take responsibility for this. But look at this. She's running from her responsibilities. I like this woman.
She's like, I thought it was supposed to come back. Has it ever come back for you? And he's like, I don't know. I just got it.
I never threw it before.
I never threw it. I just got it.
She breaks a window and coincidentally breaks his heart.
Yes.
Now, right about that time, she's like, okay, I can let this kid off easily.
Yeah.
Because she can see that, oh, wait a minute, he's developing a crush that cannot be, because I don't want him falling in love with my mom. I want him falling in love with me as the real Annabelle, Jodie Foster.
Oh, yeah. Got to nip this in the bud.
This is getting away from her here.
Right.
And oddly enough, Boris, played by Mark McClure, reprises his role as a delivery guy in the 2003 film.
Yep.
And we know it's Boris because it says on his shirt, Boris.
Yeah.
Boris.
And the delivery.
I didn't know that, but yeah, that makes sense now.
Now, I have a question for you ladies. Jake, in the new, the 2003 version, he is the heartthrob, of course. Now, is he of school age or is he older?
So
he's older.
We just had a debate about this the other day, because when I first watched this as a 14-year-old, I thought when he says that he works in detention, he was like a TA or like a student that's working in the office. But we just had a discussion that they never really say that he's a student. He just says that he works there.
He works there.
So we're just quite not sure if he's like 18, 19 that works in the office, or if he's like a TA student that works in the office. But he is older than Anna.
He is older than Anna. And then he is also a barista at the coffee shop.
Right.
So, like, I mean, not that, like, school age kids can't have a coffee shop.
He could be 16.
But,
He could be like 16.
I would imagine that he's 18 because he has a motorcycle license.
I think he's a senior, and it's kind of closer to the end of the year. And so he's kind of like, hey, I just work here, man.
Yeah, and Anna is 15 in the 2003 version, but Annabelle is 13 in the Freaky Friday version, 1977. So there is an age up difference, So I think 18 would be kind of the guess, 17,
Plus,
18.
there are some people who graduate at 18, and there's some people who graduate at 17. So he could be that he just graduated, but he still is getting paid. Because, like, my best friend's brother, he does that. Like, he graduated Cal Lutheran, but he's now, like, kind of a, like, professor there. So he, like, works there, and he works in the radio. So, like, I think he kind of maybe graduated, but he works there.
Oh yeah, a lot of my friends in my high school worked in like the shop there.
Okay.
And they kept saying he works in the detention
administration or
office, the detention center, but you never see him working in the detention center because you're like, wait a minute, is he in detention?
He has the keys. So,
I
no,
think he
he's
just
not
works
in
in
detention.
administration.
Anna says that she meant him in detention.
Right.
And when Anna, as the mom, as Tess, goes to take the test, and she gets in trouble because Stacey Hinkhouse calls her out for cheating, and Jake says, I can help you finish your test. He has the keys to get into the.
I thought he was like a Bart Simpson character who always had keys to everything.
Yeah,
yeah.
I wanted him to be the daredevil, but no, he's not.
Plus, Chad Michael Murray was definitely older than 18
Lindsay
when he was
Right.
playing it. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was at least 21.
Yeah, at least.
Okay, got it.
All right, so what other ways was the film alike? Well, both girls had amazing talents.
Yes, and you know what? This is what I like. Like these films really. It's no wonder you didn't really see it, Richard, because these are very like mother-daughter films, right? They really speak to women, and like one of those things is because the girls do have these talents. So like Annabelle, 1977, she's got her field hockey game, and she's like the captain, and she's the linchpin of the whole game. And then she also is like this fabulous water skier, apparently. And then, of course, Anna in 2003 is the badass guitarist in her band, Pink Slip.
Pink Slip!
Yeah.
We love Pink Slip!
We love Pink
And she's
Slip.
cool, which is why I did not relate to this Anna.
I kind of really related to Anna, especially with like being captain of the dance team when this came out. Like my senior year was 2003 to 2004, so I was captain of my dance team at this point.
Nice. Awesome.
I thought the whole water skiing thing just came out of the blue. But earlier in the film, when the cleaning lady, and when she's cleaning up Anna's room, Annabelle's room,
she throws the water ski
she says,
around.
like, "Oh, here's a broken water ski." It's like, "Oh, that's a good placement."
Okay,
I see that. And then later on,
I mean,
she's a
but they
water
did
skier.
say it from the very beginning. Like,
Yeah,
they did
but-
say that she was one of the best water skiers in the.
You know what they say in films? Show it, don't say it.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you. Right. Also, have you guys water skied before?
No.
No.
Okay. I have tried to water ski before. If you don't know how to water ski, you are just falling straight back in the water. You are not going around the whole.
I believe it.
You're not hanging on for dear life because it's like these muscles you develop in your legs to be able to stay on the water.
But in that last scene when the mother was water skiing in the place of Annabelle, she was doing quite well with that blue screen behind her.
I know! Oh my god! The effects were so
Yeah, but that wig
funny.
was not. That wig was not a thing.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I wouldn't call this a comedy. I would call this a fantasy.
Yes.
First and foremost, a
Yes.
fantasy.
Okay.
All right. Then in the end, they all realize there's no place like home when you're in your own body. And a newfound appreciation is found for the other person.
Right. And what they have to go through, what their day is like, basically. It's like, oh, okay, so you don't sit around all day eating
bonbons and
chips
watching
and
Phil
watching
Donahue.
TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
how hard can this be to do laundry? And she's shoving rugs and,
Rugs and
tennis
sneakers
shoes.
and the dog in the washing machine.
I'm glad she didn't shove the dog in there. Let's just say.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, this writer just watched the Brady Bunch.
Oh.
They're trying to do the laundry, and it goes the foul.
Oh my God. Now, I do have to say, well, okay, so we should talk about a few ways that the 2003 version was updated. And I think one of the main ways I'll just is the fact that in the 1977 version, Annabelle and her mom switch in separate places, separate locations. They basically don't interact until the very end. Whereas the 2003 version, the two women wake up in the same house, realize that they have switched and start interacting right away. They come back and interact at lunch. They come back and interact at the rehearsal dinner. Like, there's all this amazing interaction and chemistry. And I think that is the real beauty of this film and why it works so well.
The chemistry between Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis is unparalleled.
That's like the biggest and best update that they could have had between the two
The way
movies.
that Jamie Lee portrays Lindsay as a teen,
Okay.
and the way that Lindsay portrays Tess as herself,
an
like
adult,
it's
you
an
know.
adult, like they just nail it, and the chemistry between them, exactly. We needed those scenes. I also love the fact that we got to see a day in their life before they switched, so that we could tell what happened and why when they switched, because we got a lot more backstory in the beginning. Because a lot of the backstory and the stuff that we were getting in 1977 was voiceover in their head, which I didn't really
Voiceover in
like.
the head.
There is some voiceover in the 2003 version, but it's funny. It's prevalent in the scene. It's kind of like her going, "Why am I in Anna's room?" Or
Yeah, it's those inner thoughts.
Like when they just wake up.
Yeah, when they just wake
and
up.
that's all we
or-
get,
Yeah, or like she's at the office and she's thinking like, and she's trying to be the therapist and she's like just drawing, and then the lady says that she read her daughter's diary and she's like, "Oh my God, what? No." Like, you know. So, I mean, I love the fact that we got like them established before we switched, because you felt what they felt as as themselves, and then you felt the other person feel that too.
Yeah.
And I felt the audience was along for the journey on that one.
Yeah, because in 1977, like, you only got them complaining about each other to a different person. Annabelle was complaining about her mom being unfair to her best friend, and Ellen was complaining to the dad about how Annabelle reacts and is messy and doesn't do what she says, and had to remind her to go to the dentist and all of that stuff. So, like, that's the only interaction we got, or how we got to know the backstory of how they feel about each other without actually going through their day.
I was kind of shocked when they switched like 15 minutes into the movie, or like 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
I was like,
In the 77 version?
yeah. I was kind of shocked that they switched so fast, because I was looking to see them experience their life as themselves, so that we could feel them experience as the other person,
Right.
So
Because in
I don't know.
2003, because we experienced them as themselves, how much Anna loves being in the band and how important it is. And you
Yeah.
already know that Tess doesn't really like the band, even though she lets them, practice in the garage,
Yeah.
Like, it's just a formality to keep Anna there, probably, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you also know that Anna's not really she's not really like forward with the guys. Like, she likes Jake, but she's not gonna go up and say I like you, or like he doesn't really notice her. It's like that she gets kind of nervous around him.
Oh,
So
that's right. Yeah.
yeah.
Those are good points. Yeah.
But also, you find out that Anna's not over the death of her dad, and either though she's friendly with the mom's boyfriend and is encouraging of the marriage, she's not over the death of the dad.
Right.
Yeah, whereas in the 77 version, there was the dad was in the picture.
He is in the picture.
He is
yes,
in the picture,
yeah.
yes. And,
Well,
and that,
yeah.
that leads into the next way that the 2003 version was updated. 2 words, women's liberation.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in the 77, the mom, Ellen, she was just a housewife whose sole purpose it was to maintain her man. Whereas Tess was a very independent woman. She had a career as a psychiatrist, and
She wrote a book.
and she's an author. Yes, she wrote a book. And she's marrying a new man that
Yeah, they
weekend.
really upped the stakes
Yes.
with this version because of the marriage.
Right.
Right.
And now she's juggling all this stuff on that really applies to her job, her family, and her wedding.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 77 version, it was, like I said earlier, the honeydew. Honeydew this,
list.
honeydew this. Go to the cleaners. Now, the caterer dropped out, so make a buffet for 21 people.
In 3 hours.
Yeah, you know what? Don't worry yourself. Just make it good, because my whole job depends on this.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, wear that slinky black dress I like.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let me just put that on in the 90-degree heat,
Right. But I do like that, like, Annabelle got to see that side of her dad, and she did call him a misogynistic pig, but I would have liked to see her call him out on that when he was trying to do it again once they switched back.
Oh, not 1977.
Yeah. No, but like Annabelle, she's not your typical kid. She would have been outspoken and said something. Now that she knows, she could have been like, Dad, shut up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite parts about the 2003 version as well is that as Anna is her mom and she's talking to her mom's boyfriend, he kind of tells her that I wanted Anna to come to me on her own. I want my own relationship with her. And Anna kind of realizes that he's not as bad as she thinks he is. And he's not trying to replace her dad. He's just trying to be there for the family and for her mom. And I think that was a really nice moment, too, as an updated 2003 family looks different type of moment.
Yeah, Mark Harmon does. I love Mark Harmon in anything. And he does a really good job playing the fiance Ryan.
Yeah.
And he's really Tess's biggest fan. He's there for everything that she wants to do. Oh, you wrote a book, so I'm gonna surprise you with a guest appearance on this talk show. Not realizing, oh, this is not Tess. This is Anna.
Yeah.
It's not really said, but I think that he might be like her book manager, like her editor or something, because in the beginning he comes in and he shows her like the first copy of her book.
Oh,
that's right.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he
But
surprises her with it,
yes,
doesn't he?
Yes. But I think either way, book manager or not, he would have been her biggest fan and doing whatever he could because he loves her so much.
Right.
And he never gives her a honey-do list.
No, he doesn't.
And the whole TV appearance thing was you knew the way that was gonna go.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, she doesn't know what to say, but looks at the title. Okay, now I know where to go. And before long, she's like dancing in the aisles, getting all the crowd to cheer for her.
She went crowd surfing.
She went crowd surfing.
And Jake's like, "Oh, your mom is cool."
Yeah, even the son was like, "Wow, I didn't know mom could be this cool."
Yeah.
She's body surfing. She's getting the whole crowd riled up. She's like Jerry Springer over there.
She's like, "Why are you holding it in? Shout it out!"
Yeah. Oh my
But that was like Anna being like the lead singer, lead guitarist at the band and doing all that stuff because that's what you would do at a concert. You would crowd surf. You're getting them hyped. You're like that's how you work the band. So.
Yeah.
And plus, she had this new badass look, the spiky hair, and
exactly.
the new clothes.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And another way the film has been updated. First, Annabelle is a water skier, but how can you update it? You have the main character be in a rock band. In the 90s and early 2000s, every character had to sing, had to be in a rock band.
Yeah.
They needed to sell those soundtracks.
And they did.
Well, they were trying to lift off Lindsay Lohan's singing career too.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because after that is when she did like actually after that she did Mean Girls, and then I think during that point when she got really famous, Rumours came out, which was her hit song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that was in the contract. You know what? Wait a minute, Anna, you're a water skier in this one. No, I'm gonna be a rock star. Change that, and you have me in your film.
Well, and like I said, like the punk bands going like singing pop songs in that like genre, it was really prevalent in 2003, 2004. They even in the soundtrack have the band that does a punk version of Baby One More Time from Britney Spears. So, and I remember listening to Pop Goes Punk was the compilation CD, and it had like Madonna's Like a Prayer, Britney Spears, like all of the like pop songs, but they were sung by punk bands. So like Bowling for Soup and all of that. So that was really big in the day.
I think the song in the beginning of the movie, the So Happy Together song, is also done by a punk band.
Yeah, because it went from the Turtles to the punk band.
Yes. Yeah.
But you know what? I kind of prefer the 1977 opening, the animated opening.
Oh my god!
Animated opening. No,
that's like so from the '60s though. Like it's very
it's
like
60s and 70s.
Yeah.
You saw that the next year with Grease.
But also the scene in where Annabelle is driving the car in the 1977 down that street, that's the same street that Grease does their race.
Oh yeah, the big ravine, the LA River. All right, now let's talk about the big climax, the big ending, because someone needs to explain this to me.
Okay. Oh, which one? The 1977 work event?
In the 1977 version, things come to a head at the father's big work event.
Okay, so what this is, he's in an advertising agency.
Yes.
And they are trying to get a client who like owns this real estate, right?
Played by Dick Van Patten.
Yes. And there's an aquacade, apparently.
An aquacade,
Yes, that's what the event is called.
A big water show.
Yeah. Water show. But they call it an aquacade. I guess that was a big thing in the 70s.
Is it a contest of some kind?
No, it's just
no,
a big
an
water
exhibition,
show.
I think. Exhibition.
Where Annabelle, she is the big draw for this because he's like one of the 3 best water skiers in the state.
Yep.
So now he's been building this up. Hey, look at this. And but now it's not Annabelle, it's Tess, and she's fumbling her way through this.
It's Ellen.
Ellen.
Mrs. Andrews.
Yes.
They call her Mrs. Andrews most of the time.
Right. And she's fumbling, but everyone's thinking, wow, is this part of the show? It's really, really good. I'm loving this.
She's doing tricks.
Unbeknownst to, but you cut back to Ellen, she's like, wah!
Right.
Like, wow, look at her go!
And then meanwhile, Annabelle is trying to race to the event
To the
in
event,
the car.
right.
She's driving.
In the car.
And then they
Yeah.
both wish to be back in their bodies. And so that wish works, but their bodies switch places for some reason.
Their minds switch places.
Their bodies go to their minds, right?
Right, right. Instead of their minds going to their
to their bodies. That to me, I was like, okay, this is unbelievable. That to me, like, doesn't make it believable at all. The body, you don't switch bodies in thin air. Like,
Right.
okay, you switched minds first.
Right.
So just switch the minds back. Why did you have to switch bodies? Because now we have the mom and in her body on the water skis.
Right.
And in the air. And then we have Annabelle in her body driving the car that she doesn't know how to drive.
In a police pursuit.
Yes.
Exactly. The cop is following her.
Yeah, the cop.
And
There's
she's
like 30 cops
13.
behind her.
Yeah.
And this is where I went, okay,
no.
But as a kid, you're all when police cars would smash.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're on the
And,
floor.
and one of them went through that tunnel thing which split the
That
body in
divide,
half.
and it cuts the car
Yeah.
right in half. That alone
And the
is
car
worth the
on
price
its,
of admission.
on its
But they
45 degree
did
angle.
explain it where they were like, "Oh, our body switch. Well, my body's here, but it's in the wrong place," or something
Right.
like that. They
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That didn't explain
Like-
it for me. That just was a funny line. that
Right
they
body,
wanted to
wrong
say.
place. I think that's what
Exactly.
they say.
Right body, wrong place.
But
Yeah.
then before you know it, the mom is parasailing. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then
Now
meanwhile-
this is a big farce.
Meanwhile, the dad. Well, that's what
Well,
it was.
yeah,
And meanwhile, the dad is like not asking, okay, where did Annabelle go?
Right?
like all of a
yeah.
sudden
It's
it's
just
his
like, why
wife.
is it my wife? Like,
Yeah.
why is it not
To me, they
Annabelle?
were not trying to find each other and try to figure out what happened enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Why are they still separated? Why aren't they going home to find each other? Like, throughout the whole movie, I was just like, why are you not trying to switch back?
Because most 10-year-olds don't ask these kinds of questions.
Right.
I mean, in the 2003 version, they were like, what happened? How do we switch back? Like, you know, like they were talking it through and figuring it out. And I think that's another
Right.
change that is really good for the storyline, at least.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that the big climax is now this rehearsal dinner.
Yeah,
for-
the rehearsal dinner.
The rehearsal dinner and the audition is
The
on
band,
the same night.
the audition.
Yeah, so in the 2003 version, according to the fortune cookie, only when the mother and daughter understand each other and do something selfless, for the other one can they switch back.
Right.
Correct.
So that's very, very important. So
Very
at Tessa's wedding rehearsal dinner, she and Anna,
she as Anna.
she as Anna lets her go to the audition because she knows right from the start that Anna doesn't want to be at this rehearsal. She wants to be at this audition. Go ahead. I want you to go.
No, that's not exactly how that happened. So the friends try to sneak her out, and she's saying, no, I can't go because she's the mom.
Right.
And she doesn't know how to play guitar, and she can't do the audition. And the mom is kind of trying to avoid Jake because Jake has shown up to ruin her rehearsal dinner.
Because he's in love with her.
Because he's in love with her. And so then as Anna gets kidnapped, Ryan comes up and figures out what's going on, at least with the audition being on the same night. And she says some things like, oh, I know you don't care about the band, but this is a really big night. And I told her she couldn't go. And Ryan goes, oh, well, she should go. It's her band. She should go to the audition. And she's like, okay. And so then they go to the audition, but Tess has to go with her because it's Anna, really, and she can't play guitar. So the selfless act on the other side was that the mom was on stage and played the audition.
Right.
Well, if you want to simplify it, there you go.
Right.
And Anna like played guitar for her behind the scenes. And then when they go back to the rehearsal dinner, instead of postponing the wedding like Tess
The mom
asks
wants
her
to do.
Yeah, the mom
Right.
wants to do. She says that she approves of it, and that's the selfless act that changes them back. But
Because throughout the whole movie, she was like, I'm 15, I don't want to get married. And
Yeah.
So at that point, there's an earthquake, and everyone feels this earthquake.
Yeah.
The earth moves under my feet. So now, at that point, they switch back. But now, in the 1977 version, there was a setup for the sequel.
Yes. Okay, this is
When it's the brother and the grandfather who
in the 77.
In the
No, it's the dad.
It's the dad.
the
Right.
dad.
Yeah,
Okay.
the dad and the dad. Yeah. In the 2003 version, it's the brother and the grandfather.
Exactly. Yeah. So they both they both say the same thing of.
As long as we're comparing Saturdays, I'd like to be in your shoes.
And I'd rather be you.
Bill, I wouldn't pursue this any further if I were you. You would not want to change places with Ben, believe me.
Yeah, you don't want to change places with Dad over there.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Roll credits. Okay, it was right there. But there have been some book sequels.
Oh.
Yes.
Really?
Now, Mary Rogers, who wrote the 1972 Freaky Friday book, she wrote 2 sequels, a Freaky Friday story, A Billion for Boris, in 1974. Then there was Summer Switch, a Freaky Friday story in 1982, and it was in this second book where Ben switches places with the father.
Oh.
So there was a sequel written, they just never made it to the movies. I don't know why. But then Mary Rogers also co-wrote a thematic sequel novel with the 2003 screenwriter Heather Hack, H-A-C-K, Hack, called Freaky Monday, published in 2009.
Well, we got some reading to do.
Yeah, we do.
Interesting. Yeah.
Freaky Monday. That is every Monday's freaky.
Wow. Right. Yeah.
So there were some sequels there, but
crazy stuff happens on Mondays.
but at least at this point, we're not going to get the next one until next year.
Right.
When now it's Lindsay Lohan and her daughter switching places.
Or something.
Well,
and then
they haven't revealed who's switching. They
I was doing some research, and everything that I've been reading, it all boiled down to.
Really?
I mean, what else could it be?
They did mention that she's a mom now, but they haven't said whether she has a daughter or a son. But obviously, probably because of this.
No, they did say that she has a daughter. They did say that she has a daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but they are saying that there could be multiple switches.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
No.
That's what I would think. Because you need to have Jamie Lee Curtis be her daughter again. Come on.
Yeah,
or something
but
like that.
now to have Lindsay Lohan as Anna switch bodies with her son, that takes it to a whole new level.
No, it's a daughter. But and Manny Jacinto.
Manny Jacinto.
Yeah, Jacinto is her husband.
The Stranger. Oh, no kidding.
Really? Well, that's fun.
Jamie Lee just let it like that's.
Oh, I haven't seen her post anything. Okay, so Manny Jacinto is on board.
Yeah, is her.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
And Mark Harmon's back, and Chad Michael Murray's back, and
I hope Boris has a what is it?
A cameo?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got to. He's got Mark McClure.
You know what?
Still out there.
I want Jodie Foster to have a cameo on this one.
Oh, that
Same.
would be fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I have friends. Let's do it.
They are like best friends, and I have a freaky fun fact. So for the 2003 Freaky Friday, originally the Jamie Lee Curtis role was offered to Jodie Foster. And Jodie Foster passed because she thought it would be too campy to kind of
stunt casting,
too
which
stunt
is
casting.
exactly what it would have been.
Exactly.
It would have
and
been,
so then they decided. So then they offered it to Annette Bening, who was going to take it, but had some emergency or something. So 4 days before they started shooting, they offered it to Jamie Lee Curtis. So Jamie Lee Curtis only had 4 days to prep, and she actually mentions that, like in some of those interviews and stuff, that was actually helpful to not be able to prep too much, to just kind of go with her instinct and go with her gut. And I think she did an amazing job.
I mean, that's what Jamie Lee does best anyways. Just go with your gut.
Now, I've worked once with Jamie Lee Curtis. She is this character. She is a trip.
Yes,
She is
so
very,
funny.
very trippy.
Nice.
She's not your common mom.
Interesting.
I didn't think she was. She seems such a cool mom.
Yes.
To quote
yes,
Mean Girls, I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Yeah, she tried to headhunt me for something new that she was doing called Camp Curtis.
Oh.
A summertime camp for kids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm there. Let's do it. And she and I were like talking in her kitchen. She had all these clapper boards from all these movies she worked on.
Whoa.
It's like, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, let's Camp Curtis. Okay, I can deal with this. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, I'm talking to Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Right behind her is the Halloween clapper board.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, what happened with that?
It just
never got off the ground?
it never
got off the ground.
Got off the ground, right?
How sad.
She probably got busy with some kind of movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and her husband, Christopher Guest, was there.
Oh, wow.
And talk about the guy you would never think is a comedy genius. He just sat there and just didn't say a word.
Oh.
Yeah, you never know he's in the room.
I mean, Jamie Lee is a big personality, so
She's a very, very big personality.
Yeah, but she's great. I loved getting to watch her D23 talk about it, and all the interviews that came out after D23 with her and Lindsay were so fun. So, I think she said that she took this idea to Disney, said that they needed a sequel because everybody always asks her and Lindsay in interviews if there was ever going to be a sequel. And so she said, there's a market, let's do it. Like everybody wants it. So they just needed to get Lindsay like on board, and not that she wasn't on board, but I think like to an age where she could be like the mom of the story.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was a thing until D23 when they announced the title and everyone went crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, when have we been excited about this?
They were already in production. Yeah, they had announced it,
Yeah.
I want to say earlier this year, right before they went into production on it.
Yeah.
Then I've been seeing so much online on the web about Freaky Friday. So it's like, hey, we got to do a step in time.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to do these two films.
Well, and I do have to say now, after seeing the 2003 Freaky Friday 2 times now, like, I am in. I love this movie. It is so good. And, like, Richard, I think you were watching me watching the movie sometimes, because I was getting such a kick out of the whole mother-daughter dynamic. Like, it's so adorable.
The jokes are still so funny. It still holds up. Like,
Yeah.
I think that it's a movie that you could show your daughter in like a couple years and bond over. The 1977 version, not so much.
That is extremely dated, but I
Yeah.
don't think of anything in the 2003 version that was really dated, other
No.
than tech
I mean, maybe the language a little bit, because the language isn't.
and those big giant brick cell
It's
phones.
definitely like millennial language, like
Right.
millennial language. But I think the Gen Zs still like it. I think Gen Alpha will get a kick out of it. I think it's kind of a timeless movie at this point because it is so good. It's still so good. I actually came home from D23 and I watched it because of the Freakier Friday, and I was just like, oh, I haven't watched it in a while. I really want to watch it. And then you guys asked us to watch it, and I watched it again. So I was like,
Well,
I
I'm so
just
glad.
watched it, but I watched it again.
I'm so glad they made a big deal about it because this
Yeah.
wasn't on my radar at all
Yeah.
until this.
Well, they announced it on Jamie's. Yeah, they announced it on Jamie Lee Curtis's Instagram because
Oh.
it was like they came out of the trailer and they're like, "It's happening!"
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I don't
Aw.
want to take away from this movie, but have anyone seen the 1995 made-for-television movie with Shelley Long and Gabby Hoffman?
I think we have. I think I have. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Was it A Wonderful World of Disney?
It was a Disney produced film.
Okay, I've never seen this. No.
I don't remember it, but like they remade a lot of stuff for The Wonderful World of Disney and then showed it on Sunday nights and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was one of those movies. But did you see the Freaky Friday musical?
And the 2018 musical version?
I
Well,
have not.
It's based off of the musical, the Broadway version.
Oh.
right?
There was a Broadway version?
Wasn't
No, they made it a musical and then they made it a Broadway.
Oh,
they made it
around.
after. Okay, it was after.
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't remember which one came first. But no, don't watch the 2018 one.
Or don't watch the 1995
Because
one either.
they made it again for Disney Television, and this time they made it a DCOM, which means Disney Channel Original Movie, which means it's for younger. So, no.
Okay. Unless you're about 5, you wouldn't enjoy it? Is that?
Maybe like 10. Maybe like if you're
10.
10, 9 or 10.
But like, unless you really like Heidi Blicken stuff, like,
I love her.
Oh, she's wonderful, but like...
Who?
She's a Broadway actress. She played Ursula in The Little Mermaid. She did play the mom on when they did this on stage. I'm not quite sure if it went to Broadway or not, so that's why I'm just saying like on stage. She usually is one of the singers when they do the Epcot Festival of the Arts, the Broadway performances. She's usually one of those singers.
We saw her in the Alanis Morissette musical.
Yeah, she did have a big part in Jagged Little Pill, which was the Broadway musical based off of Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill album, which is really good.
Now, before we wrap it up, let's name some other body-switching movies that we may have enjoyed or may not. Like, I'm talking All of Me, the 1984 film with Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin. This was a funny film.
Really?
This is when Steve Martin was really transitioning out of his characters like the jerk.
Okay.
And getting into the smarter characters.
Okay.
This was the perfect gender swapping film.
Oh. Was Victor Victoria?
No.
A body
It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't body switching.
No, she was just posing as a male, posing as a female or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was also vice versa.
Oh yeah.
You can skip over that. There's the hot chick. You
Oh,
pretty
boy.
much guess what that's all about.
Yes.
Rachel McAdams. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, in her first film.
Oh
And
my
Rob
God.
Schneider.
And Rob
yeah.
Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
Do they
Yeah.
switch? A boy and a girl?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Is
They
the first thing he does is fondle something?
What do you think? It's Rob Schneider. It's Rob Schneider.
I'm sure.
Most likely. There is a horror twist on Freaky where it is the Vince Vaughn. Cassie. She plays Ant-Man's daughter.
Caitlin.
Yeah. Ant-Man's daughter in Quantum Mania, the blonde. Yeah. So Freaky is based on this, but it's the horror version, so it's a serial killer.
Yeah, I saw that one while I was doing my research, but we got to see this. A horror version of Freaky Friday? Oh, come on.
It's still a comedy, so yeah.
It's still not. I mean, I haven't seen it, but like I know the premise of it because I don't really do horror movies. But it's by Blumhouse, and so they always.
Oh, that's horror.
They've had a house about it at Universal Studios at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah,
So
they have
funnier
they have a
than
Blumhouse thing.
But it's funnier than their horror
Than their
stuff
house.
because I've watched it.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Then there's Face Off, which doesn't really. It's an honorable mention. They don't swap bodies; they swap faces.
Does that mean that Mission Impossible 2 counts as well?
Not at
Or
all.
3?
No, because he never swapped bodies with anybody.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, there's other films that a character will switch back, like 17 again.
Like, yeah.
Where they go back to being 17 again. Like,
like
big.
13 going on 30.
Like 13 going on 30
Yeah.
and big, but those aren't body switching
No,
movies.
But that's not body switching.
No,
That's time
the other
jumping.
one that's my favorite other than Freaky Friday is Wish Upon a Star.
Yeah, Wish Upon a Star is a body switching one. Yes.
Yes.
What's this about?
Katherine
Heigl.
Heigl and
Oh.
Danielle Harris.
Danielle Harris. It was a Wonderful World of Disney movie or a made for TV movie. It's not on Disney Plus. I wish it was, but it was really good. It was the older sister and the younger sister swap, and the older sister is very popular. Has a boyfriend. Is like
And
a
the younger
cheerleader
sister is
and
brainy. Yeah.
kind of gothic, more outcasty, and it's a good one too.
That kind of sounds like a good mashup. I like that.
Yes.
That's cool. Nice. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us for this Freaky Friday mashup. I loved this.
Now say it. You gotta say it. For this
What?
Freakier Friday mashup.
Freakier Friday.
That's coming.
Friday. Yes.
Coming next year. So when is Freakier Friday coming out?
2025, I think either spring or summer.
All right, Skywalker, so which version of Freaky Friday do you prefer? Let us know in the comments. And we are anxiously awaiting the sequel, Freakier Friday, sometime next year. Now, as we wrap up, let's all together say, I wish I could switch places for just one day, and we'll see what happens tomorrow morning.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get
Okay.
ready?
Okay.
I
wish
I
I
could
could
switch places for just one day. Oh, we should have had fortune cookies. We should have had fortune cookies.
Yeah, we don't.
I know.
Yeah, so I don't think this experiment's gonna work out. So never mind. All right, bye. Good night. All right, well that wraps up episode 482 of
Skywalking through Neverland.
We want to thank Courtney and Kelly Turckel for coming on and sharing their best moments of Freaky Friday and helping us break the films down and going over the nostalgic moments. It was so much fun.
It was. It was a great conversation.
And we want to thank all you Skywalkers in the Sky Chat and everyone who's helping us get to those big numbers every single week. We thank you, and thank you for that. Now remember, if you subscribe this week, get us to the 9105. We'd really appreciate it, okay? Subscribe.
Yeah, YouTube channel is just search YouTube for Skywalking Through Neverland. And then you can also find us on all our socials at Skywalking Pod. Now, do you have things that you want to share? Well, we do. So you can join us every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific on YouTube as we share things that we've done this past week. Oh, I've also been posting things we want to share. It's also live on Instagram now. So just so you know, you can check it out there. I know a lot of people follow us on Instagram. Things we want to share this week. I talked about the Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon. That was fun. And we also talked about James Earl Jones because the news broke like literally an hour before we did that things we want to share.
Yeah, Glenn Stein came on to show us his new collectibles.
Some unboxing. Yeah, if you have like blind bags or stuff you want to unbox, we would invite you to come on. If you have a Chrome browser or if you have the StreamYard app, you can join us in studio and actually come on and share it with everyone.
Yeah, and last week I unboxed this Luke Skywalker right over here.
Yes.
The gentle giant jumbo Luke Skywalker.
Yes, you did.
Lots and lots of fun. But now speaking of fun, let's talk about today in Star Wars history, the books, Volume 1 and 2, and Skywalking Through My Fandom, the interactive notebook. If you'd like them, we know where to get them. skywalkingthrough.neverland.com/book, and that's where you can get them autographed. We just sent out some copies yesterday.
All right, and Skywalkers, you can also support Skywalking Through Neverland. If this is one of your favorite podcasts, if you listen to us every week, consider supporting us through the Patreon, which is our Skywalking Force. And if you do, you get access to bonus content in the form of our discussions on past Disney Plus shows. Agatha All Along is coming out like next week. Oh my gosh. And also you
Agatha is coming along next week.
Yes! And you get coupon codes to use for our books. And this bonus content begins really at only $5 a month. So head to skywalkingforce.com, have a look at the options available, and once again, a huge, huge thank you to those of you who are already part of the Skywalking Force.
Thank you. Now, we also want to thank our sponsor, Small World Vacations, for their continued support. Thinking of a trip to a Disney park or a Disney cruise? Well, you can fill out a Get a Quote form at smallworldvacations.com today. Their vacation planning service is free of charge, so take advantage of it and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
All right, Skywalkers, it's your time. This is it. We are part of the Skywalking Network.
Skynet.
Where you can find other great shows like Talking Apes.
Where this week we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the TV series.
Woohoo! Also, the Max Effects podcast.
Who the last episode we re-aired because Max Cervantes talked about his time working on the first Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And
he
all
worked
the
on
effects.
Special effects of Beetlejuice. It's a fascinating conversation.
Also, the Neverland Clubhouse, Totally Tell Me Everything, Star Warsologies, and the YouTube shows, Collectopolis, and Today in Star Wars History. Now, don't forget to stick around for bloopers and other fun bits that didn't make it into the show. And
always remember to never say the same thing at the same time as your parent.
And
Neverland on Alderaan.
Especially on a Freaky Friday.
Hit record there. Hit record there. I'm going to need you to do your clappy claps, please.
Clappy claps coming up. A crypt keeper. That's what she says, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like the crypt keeper.
And here we go.
Since the reveal of the title of the anticipated Freaky Friday...
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's take them off stage until we come on.
Bye. Bye.
Hey, look at those names to the left. They are part of the Skywalking Force, our Patreon.
Become a producer yourself and check out all the Disney Plus themed bonus content available depending on the level you subscribe.
Become a member of the elite Skywalking Force at skywalkingforce.com.